I present to you one of the greatest Wahoos ever, Mr. Ralph Sampson.
I already told him this mic thing won't work, but thanks for the introduction. The crew up here was kind of nervous to get up here, and all you guys did a great job, so congratulations on your opportunity to speak. I'm going to point out a few people before I get started. One was your mom, because she came up to me up in the reception area and said her mom was mad at her because of a plane flight somewhere when she was 10 years old, whatever, and she had to go to the bathroom. And I was sitting up, I guess, a couple rows up, but because she had to go to the bathroom, her mom didn't get to meet me. But she met me tonight, so she did her job. She did her job, right? She did her job, so good job. Right. And then I had a button. She laughing, right? That's a UVA diehard person right there. She's in orange and blue with her chains got blue in it, and she had a little button up in the other ear. I was gonna wear it, but I put it somewhere in the bag. But she has this green and red and purple hair with this wig on, but she's probably the biggest UVA fan I've seen in a long time. So congratulations on your award as well, and all your other award recipients. Congratulations on just being at University of Virginia and receiving any kind of award here, because it's going to be special to you down the road. You don't know that yet, but it's going to be special to you. Wahoo wah. Wahoo wah. Wahoo wah. Now, most people around the country don't know what that means, right? But we do. So that's kind of what we do. But when I told my parents that I had the honor of speaking to you guys today, they said, I have arrived. You know, I came to the school and I graduated in 1983, which started the 1983 check to the school with a degree in rhetoric and mass communications, which doesn't exist anymore. But my mom and dad said, you have arrived, because I get to come to graduation and speak, and my mom knows, I speak okay around her sometimes, but she takes the cake. So anyway, thanks to President Ryan. I mean, who has a president that comes up, gets a check, runs off the stage, runs miles every day still, I think, right? And whatever. So when he came here, I had a chance to meet him, but what a president. So I commend you on what you do. Board of Trustees, faculty and staff, distinguished guests, families and friends, and most of all, the class of 2022. Give yourself a hand. And I also want to thank the class of 22 for you guys letting me speak. I didn't know it was going to be like this. I thought it would be a small group of people, maybe somewhere, whatever, but when they came and did it, so I appreciate you guys having me. To the parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, sisters, family members, all you guys here, I mean, you guys did it, right? You guys should be commended, and applause for you guys as well for sending your kid to this school and supporting them through this 4 years. It's been a hard 4 years to get here due to a pandemic, all that, but you made it, and thanks for your hard work. So parents, family, congrats as well. Now I don't want to stir up any confusion, so a couple of things happened. So we got a couple classes of arts and science, right? And that may be here. School of Engineering, McIntyre School of Commerce, School of Architecture, Baton School, School of Nursing, and lady over there, and School of Education. Obviously that's changed over the years with no communications major, but that's okay. I had the chance to do it here with some great people, and I had fun doing it. But all the schools here, when you look at them, are really, really good. And we'll excuse the nursing, because in the last 2 years, nursing and all that, you guys have done an amazing job. So I won't even get into that, because we'll get into another subject. But I know you all are excited, right, to get to this day, to this weekend. And you might be a little tired as well. You may have stayed up all night trying to make sure your credits were straight and everything was together before you get up and get this piece of paper that you're going to hang on your wall somewhere, or your parents going to hang on the wall at the house. Or some of you may have stayed up a little bit too late last night and went to the white spot on the corner and had a Gus burger, right? Because you wanted to, she's pointing her hand though, she's good. But all of you showed up and you worked hard to get here. So I congratulate you for your hard work to get here. And you may have played, young lady who played sports had 5 concussions. But you got here and you still stand. So I'm gonna give her, I met her at an event at a football program, and I'm gonna just stand up again because 5 concussions, volleyball player. Her sister's beside her, but she's really the coach, right? So that's good, other volleyball team. But anyway, people like that show you the fiber of University of Virginia, right? And she's going off to do great things as well. 5 concussions, playing volleyball, still here, graduating, and off to great things. So her mom and dad and parents also. So good job, you guys. I always talk about when I speak about UVA, the UVA grind. There's nothing like the UVA grind. It strengthened everybody's purpose and ambition, which we are part of. All of us are University of Virginia alumni. There are some alumni up here maybe, there's some alumni up here. My beautiful girlfriend, Montina Anderson, is alumni here too. She'll say it, but she's a little bit younger than me, so it's good. But we have this fire, we have this thing about UVA that makes us UVA, right? First year, second year, third year, fourth year, the lawn, all that makes us a part of this whole prestigious school. And there's this spirit of achievement. So when I look back in 1918, when Thomas Jefferson created school, it was about experiment. Public university designated in advance of human knowledge, educating leaders and cultivation information. Most of that, what he said back then, stands today, not only on grounds, but around the world. And I'm biased, obviously. I don't think there's any other university that can compete with University of Virginia in anything we do. So I take very good pride in that and what I think about the university as well. So, as she just said, I opened a restaurant, which I never thought I would do. And I'll tell you why I did that. But opened a restaurant, and last night when we were there, I told them I was gonna call them out. There was like a table full of guys, and there was like 15 of them. They said they live in one house. I was like, how do you 15 guys live in one house? Are you guys here somewhere? I know they said, I told them I would call them out. I see some hands come up. But they were there having dinner, and I'm like, how was your experience at UVA? Most of them said, we had a ball. Okay, great. So it became one of those things that I had passion for to get this thing done. So when I knew I was going to speak, we actually went to the lawn and walked around, and I got a chance to speak to a couple kids there. And I wanted to know what was their experience at UVA, and what will they miss, and what will they enjoy. And for me, when I go back, and I'll kind of come back to that in a second, was they said it wasn't about the classes, it wasn't about the lifestyle, it's about the UVA experience. Walking on the lawn, going to classes with your teammates or roommates, the dining hall. When I was here, just to tell you how old I am, there was something called the tree house that doesn't exist anymore, right? And Tuttle Dorm that doesn't exist anymore. She knows what I'm talking about, she's been here as well. So those experiences were large because it wasn't just about the experience of one thing. It was about the total UVA experience. So I told her, I said, what are you going to do to make sure that you experience what you want to achieve here at UVA? What else do you need to do? And then one lady said, I want to jump in a little pond by the rotunda. And I would just go in there and just jump in that pond and run through. I said, okay, well, you can try that and see what happens, but we'll make that work. So they became kind of the thing that I called the UVA grind and UVA experience as well. And the other one I did early in this year, I lived on a lawn in room number 6. And it was my senior year, and I wanted to win a national title. I came back to school my freshman year, my sophomore year, my junior year, and I stayed because I was on track to graduate, number 1. I played in a great conference, had an amazing coach in Coach Terry Holland, and I loved the school. So all those things added up, but this young man that I'm speaking about, I won't say his name, but I knocked on number 6, and I do that every number of years, and he came and he opened the door up, and I talked to him about his experience at UVA. Ironically, he's from Houston, which I played, And he said he wanted to make a change when he got to UVA, and he didn't dream about being on the lawn, but he made it to the lawn, and he's making a change in UVA today. So I know you out here. I saw you earlier, so thank you for having room number 6. And we texted the other day because in the lawn room, there's this little safe hole under the ground there that you can pick up and leave something there. So I left a picture of myself in 1983 that's still there, and everybody that stayed there have done the same thing. So we finally got it open, and I'm sure he will leave something in there as well. So good job, and people like that obviously is going to do great things when they leave here and go to the next level. Now, when I look back, that's what I'm going to get into at UVA. So I came from Harrisonburg High School, small town in Harrisonburg over the mountain. And as like I said, I got recruited pretty heavily. And Coach Terry Holland would say that his car was programmed to go to Harrisonburg every day. Coach Craig Lopez, the previous athletic director, he was at every game. Miss Holland was put at every other game because she was there as well, Coach Holland's wife. But I got recruited pretty heavily. I came here on my official visit in April 13th of 1979, my mother's birthday, right? Ironically, I'm gonna go forward a little bit, we won the national title up here, if you can, it's not there. And I had these same shoes on, the national title game. I only wore them twice, and the day the second time. Okay? We had the parade or the party, or whatever you want to call it, at Scott Stadium on April 13th, that same day that I had my official visit at UVA 40 years later. So it tells you how things happen for a reason. And obviously, I think we got the greatest basketball coach in the world here with Tony Bennett. So, and then I never came in here without a basketball coordinator, so it's totally different for me as well. But anyway, that takes me back. So my freshman year, I had fun. I stayed in Tuttle, like I said. I came here, and another reason I came here was, you know, I announced in a high school arena in Harrisonburg, and we had about 2,000 people in the stands. And me and my high school coach were there, my mom and dad were there. And it's one of the first speeches I had to ever give, and I was nervous because I didn't really know where I wanted to go. I came into the arena, I told my mom, I said, I don't know where I want to go yet, I'm still not decided. She said, you can make that decision today because we're tired of going through this mess. So we did that. So we called Coach Holland and said we're coming here. It was Kentucky, North Carolina, Virginia Tech after that. And left through the Zell was outside of the arena, knocking on doors. With John Lucas said, Ralph, don't go to Virginia, don't go to Virginia. So there's a lady in here that went to Maryland. That's why I didn't go to Maryland, because I wanted to come to Virginia, but we beat Maryland in my last game at University Hall on the last second shot. I missed 2 free throws. I got the rebound and somebody tipped it back out there and made a last second shot to win the game. But highly recruited then, came here in 1979. When I announced that I was going to UVA, a guy named Howard, I was in the car driving, a guy named Howard Cosell on the radio said, why is Ralph Sampson going to UVA? He's not academic enough to go to UVA to graduate. So one of those was my motivating factors, right? The great Howard Cosell, you young kids don't know who he is, but he always imitated Muhammad Ali or whatever. He was a sports commentator like you see today. But that motivated me to also get my degree. You got somebody like him saying, you know, I'm an African-American guy. They don't have a lot of African-American kids on their basketball team, but this, that, and other, and he can't graduate from there. It's an Ivy League school. I'm like, okay, great. So I got a chance to see him after the fact, and after I graduated, and I just smiled and said, I did graduate, so it was good. It was good. But also have to understand, during graduating, my freshman year, a guy named Brett Arback came to my parents' house with $1 million in a briefcase and put on my parents' dining room table and said, you can come play for the mighty Boston Celtics and leave school. Now, I was 199 pounds soaking wet at the end of my first, although we won the NIT, which is somewhere up in this building, but I'm still not strong enough to play against grown men at that point in time. So I made a decision to come back to school. Now, think about this, all you basketball fans. Some guy here said, what do you think? He had the audacity to come to me earlier and say, what do you think about the Celtics? You know, my competitor said, you know what, the Celtics, you know? So Kevin McHale would not have gone to the Celtics if I'd came out of school. You got to make sure, you know, he wouldn't have gone there. The second year coming out, we go to the NCAA National Championship. We get there, we get beat by North Carolina. It was the last year of the semifinal game when Reagan got shot. So we played LSU. Now, the only saving grace of that, which is a good friend of mine today, is a guy named Al Wood, had 36 points that game, and he still had the most ever scored in the NCAA Final Four. And we're good friends today. He's a minister down in North Carolina, and I go see him every now and then and speak with kids over the summers. But that was one of the banners up here in this arena, but I had a chance to come out again that year. Now, I'm pretty good now. I'm National Player of the Year, and I get 20 pounds on me heavier. We go to the national Final Four, and maybe I'm ready. I go back and ask my mom, and I said, Mom, do we need anything? She said, no, we worked this long, we ain't got to worry about what you get. We continue to work. So they didn't need any money, and they made me decide on my own. So I drove down and watched some of the games. It was Philadelphia against Boston, and they played the Lakers at that point in time. And I made a decision because, one, I was having fun. Two, my parents were secure. Three, I was on track to graduate, and I loved my teammates. And I thought we could get back and do it again. So I stayed in school because I still had that Howard Cosell motivation in me, right? And I was going to get there one way. So I had to do that my freshman, sophomore, and junior year. Now, one of those years, Kevin McHale wouldn't have gone to the Celtics, James Worthy wouldn't have gone to the Lakers, and Isaiah Thomas wouldn't have gone to the Detroit Pistons. So I never brag about it, but when I see them, I say, you know, you got lucky because I didn't come out, you know, and they all laughed, so it was good. But anyway, I stayed because of those reasons, and you know, my graduation day here was on the lawn, and I had all these pictures and things I had to do, and it was a rainy day on the lawn. It wasn't a good weather day, but it was fun as all get out. So when y'all go there tomorrow, it might be a little hot, as the president said, right? So our class, we had bathing suits on, champagne bottles under our robes, stuff like that. I'm the tallest person out there, so I couldn't do anything like that, but I had some people around me that could. But we had a lot of fun. So have a lot of fun and be safe coming tomorrow. Senior year was really good, so I enjoyed it. I'm going to leave you with this because I speak to kids a lot, and I look back at my time here, high school, mom and dad, sisters, and what kind of made me be motivated to be good at basketball but want to be academically educated, but also how they'll work. You young kids that graduating class of 2022, I created this word which is called MAP, motivation, attitude, and plan. What is your MAP? You went to high school, you had great grades. You came to UVA, you have great grades. You get here, you stand up here, and you do all these things. Now what's next? What motivates you? So what's motivated me was Howard Cosell, was my family, was my teammates. University of Virginia motivated me as well in certain ways. So I go way back, and I have some definition of that, but I'm going to go off the cuff like I normally do. Because motivation, I'm self-motivated to be good. She'll know I get up and I'm cleaning kitchen. I want to be the perfect person I can be that day. I want to have everything in order. I want to have everything that I can in my world in order so I can be the best I can that day. So I'm self-motivated. So when you guys get out there, ain't no class at 8:30 gonna wake you up and say, come to class. Somebody's gonna say, be at work at 9 o'clock. You're gonna be at work at 9 o'clock. Or you're gonna stay extra, stay late. You know, you guys live in a different world too, though. I'm saying, all the electronic stuff you guys have, I would not know how to do it, but it's all good. But I'm going to be self-motivated. So I'll leave you with that word, MAP. M stands for being motivated or self-motivated. 4 years ago, though, all you were freshmen, And one of those banners up there had the national championship on it. So that was pretty cool, wasn't it? I know some people here, that was pretty, somebody said, well, we went to the national championship game. I was there as well. Mr. President Ryan was there. It was pretty fun to do that, right? I think we need another one. You know, I think we need another one pretty soon, so it's good. And I think we'll get one soon. It works. So being self-motivated to get a good education, do well at work, do well with your career and success, no matter what you do. It makes sense, right? The next letter in MAP is A, attitude. Attitude for me is that, you know, you can have a bad attitude, you can have a good attitude, but depending on how your attitude is will create your altitude and your success and how far you go. So, yeah, we all have down days, we all have bad days, but we all have a lot of good days. But how you shape your attitude will make sure you have success and how far you go in life. So I use that word MAP, M, and then P obviously is for plan. You know, your parents had a plan when they gave you life. They wanted children. They took you to dance recitals, classes, basketball practices, baseball practices when you're younger, and help you get to college and help you get here today. It could be uncles, aunts, grandparents, no matter who it is, they help you get here today. So your plan is what now? Because when you go off to work, mom and dad ain't gonna be there. They'll be there, but they ain't gonna be there every day to say, get up. They're not gonna, they still continue to push you. Always come home and have that chicken dinner at home. That'll be good on Sundays. But what is your plan at that level? Now, I'll tell you a couple of key points. Everywhere in this country, I'm sure there is a UVA alumni chapter, right? And one of the biggest things I know about after I left school was as you leave every year, you get disconnected to your connection to the school, right? And as you continue to grow and get married, your husband or wife may have gone to one of them other schools that can't compete with UVA. So you have to understand that you will have battles in your home about UVA is better than the school, it's all good. But you always want to stay connected to the connection. If you disconnect your cell phone and you don't charge it, what happens? It's going to die out. So I tell everyone that I talk to, you want to stay connected to your network. And I got disconnected over the years because of basketball 10 years in the NBA and didn't think I would ever come back to Charlottesville. I knew I'd come back to school and visit, come to games, and now I live here. So I want to make sure I stay connected to the school in a way where I can give back as much as I can, not only to the school, but the city of Charlottesville, as you mentioned earlier. So when you leave here, don't disconnect, find an alumni chapter, and stay connected to that because this is where your opportunities come into play. And speak in the words like, I want to be this, I want to do that, what's my plan, so you can go out and get anything done you want to get done. If you don't do that, that's your fault. But I'm telling you right now, your coaches, your teammates is very special. And I'll get in my teammates. I had great teammates. I had the likes of some guys that's up on that after Jeff Lampley, Raker, Terry Gates, Odell Wilson, Ricky Stokes, Jim Miller that lived here as well. And our relationship today is just as strong as it was when we played. When I opened a restaurant, I had a guy come up named Lewis Collins. Lewis Collins, a minister down in Richmond, Virginia. And he was a fifth-year senior, and we put him on the basketball team. And the special part about him was that he was tough. And Coach Allen made him live with me because I was a second year and I was getting all this attention. I didn't know it at that point in time, but he wanted somebody to be around me that would protect me. And Lewis Collins was one of those protectors. And he would kind of beat anybody up that came around, which was fine. But that relationship has stayed there since I left school. And that type of relationship is a camaraderie that you should have with your team, with your teammates if you're on a team, your classmates. You will disconnect at some point in time, obviously, but stay connected to that network because it will come back around at some point. So I have those relationships not only with my teammates on the court, but Lewis was a football player, become a basketball player, and I have a relationship with all the other sports that I was around. Now, the evolution of UVA, right, and this beautiful building that we live in, which is the best basketball arena on any college campus that I've seen, right? I mean, we would say that. I'm sure that other people would disagree with that, but I don't. University Hall was over there, which we imploded a number of years ago, which where I played. Everybody says Ralph House. You'll see a picture of it in the restaurant. It says Ralph's House. Very special building, obviously, for all of us that played there. But every sport played in that building. You have to understand that, right? All the baseball fields and stuff up there now that we raise a lot of money for to support you student athletes now and the school, none of that was up there. It was a cross-country field that we had to run every morning 3 miles, which I hated. I came in last every day. The story is I was going out, my teammates were coming back. I'm like, Coach Allen, I hate a mile, but I can beat them up and down the court. So none of that was there, but we had camaraderie with every sport in University Hall. Now our weight room was no bigger than this section, half of this section right there in University Hall. Now every team and sport have their own weight room because that's the evolution of the game that we love, basketball, baseball, football, whatever it may be, sports at the university. But the camaraderie is still here. With Coach Bennett is still here, and now the new football coach, Tony Elliott, I met him early on, brought him to the restaurant. First thing he does is invites me to a football practice, which I've never been to a football practice after I got out of UVA. But he come to, I go and it's like, how do you guys concentrate? Music's playing and the boombox is on. He said, this is what we do. But I see it, and I think it's going to be pretty good. So I'm looking forward to football season this year and recruiting of those as well and make something happen here special because I would like to win a national title in football. Well, it's here. I'm sure you would too. So it's good. But other than that, just stay focused on the map. I'll come back to that. My mother is 83, my father is 86. And during the runs of the Final Four, my father had acquired prostate cancer and lung cancer, right? It took me, I moved back home. I sold everything I had, my house, cars. Now, you know, after living in Houston, having a house, car, moving back to your parents ain't fun. There's no room in the inn, right? With being 7 foot tall, but I did end up getting another house, but my dad had all these ailments. And we took him to, he had a hernia. And my sisters called me and said, we're going to rush him to the hospital. I lived in Atlanta. I drove 8 hours straight at midnight to 8 o'clock in the morning. I said, you take your tail to the hospital. When I get there, you better be there. He was there, got the hernia fixed. A couple weeks later, he passed out when I brought him home in my arms. Took him back to the hospital. We didn't know if he had a heart attack, seizure, or stroke. He had 2 hernias, only got one fixed the first time. Ended up in Harrisonburg now. I'm not negative on any hospital. I'm definitely positive on one hospital, which we know is here. Harrisonburg Rockingham Memorial said that he had, and nurse told us she understand, had something wrong with his lung and maybe cancer. We need to do something right away. I said, okay, I'm not too skeptical about doing something right away. So I called doctors over here. I called Easton, the trainer that's still here. That's somebody I know. I said, Easton, I need some help. He said, bring him on over. He brought him over, and all the doctors here were great. We had him checked out, and he put a tube down his throat, whatever, and this, that, and the other, and told my father when we did that you might not be the same. My father sings in church. Might not be able to sing or do anything like that. They did a biopsy, came out, did all the test results. He comes out of it. We walk out the nurse's station, he's singing the Lord's Prayer. So that, I knew at that point in time he was gonna be all right? But I had to deal with him every day to get that done. It took me about 8 years. But after that, we got that fixed, we got the prostate fixed, the other hernia fixed. It took me a couple years to do that. He's 86, he's on no medication whatsoever, and this hospital is one of the best in the country, so I want to say that as well. We got this as well there. So, and again, that's another reason why you don't disconnect from your network, because you're going to need something from somebody someday. And this school is one of the best in the country. The hospital is rated #1 in the state of Virginia. I'm thinking #1 on the East Coast as well. I've seen nothing like it, and it's growing every day. And now all the other medical stuff with the orthopedic center, all that kind of stuff is really crazy. So I'm excited about what's happening here. But anyway, come to the restaurant, hang out with me. You know, we're going there right after this, but enjoy, stay safe, enjoy your weekend. It's nothing like it, you know. Leave your footprint here. I wear a size 17, so when I leave my footprint, I'm pretty big. But leave your footprint here at UVA and stay connected to the school because, there's no other place like it in the world. Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.